Hello, Supercoaches. A massive teams day. I reckon there are 10 or 15 guys that we need to get through with big Supercoach news against their name. A big panel as well with Jett Hatton backing up from some really good Supercoach exploits in his rugby union competition over the weekend.
Yeah, a few minus points though with the sin bin right at the end of the game. So
in junk time too.
Yeah, junk time. So that wasn't too good, but yeah, some offloads, some try assists, bit of this, bit of that.
Yeah, nice. And how's your Supercoach side coming along?
Not as good. I feel like I've got the scores every week, but I just can't nail a captain. I had the captain on Ryan Pappenhausen on the weekend, and just not owning blokes like Herbie Farnworth and James Tedesco has just really hurt me at the moment. So, yeah.
And Wilson Smith, good to have you back after a break and wearing the shirt that made you famous, the one that used to cop all the comments in Supercoach over the years, and it's back in action.
Yeah, my Supercoach shirt is in the wash, but I just wear this just to spite the fans, really. Nice. And your voice is sounding nice and deep too. It's like you've come back sounding like Barry White. Picked up a bit of a cold on my cruise and haven't watched much footy in the last 2 weeks, so my Supercoach team is just completely imploded, really. Captain Jayden Campbell last week, which did not go well, but... yeah, that's all right. I'm still having fun.
That's good. I like it. You're going to be running on passion alone and not
exactly.
knowledge, which is always when people are at their best on this show. On to the biggest takeaways from today's teams. There are lots of them. Jett, what's your number one?
For me, it's Lehigh Hopewade starting at fullback at Manly. Just represents a new era at Manly, obviously with Tom Trbojevic in the centre. So big implications there. So I think he's a huge buy.
Yeah, sticking with Manly, I think my biggest takeaway is Ruben Garrick moving to the wing with all the changes. I think he's been like one of the best outside backs this year, playing at centre, but I think for Supercoach purposes, he's at his best on the wing, so I think it's a massive win for him. Yeah, so big stuff surrounding Tommy Turbo there, and a couple of boosts for Supercoaches. For me, it's Josiah Karapani. I know that is, there's nothing new going on here. He is the most popular purchase in Supercoach this week. I'm not telling a lot of Supercoaches anything new, except that today he signed a new 2-year deal with the club. Plus, Selwyn Cobbo was linked to a move to the Cowboys, which did get blocked by the Broncos. In any case, the job security looks pretty good for Karapani, and he scored 4 tries in 2 games. So I'm trying to find a way to get him into my team after initially thinking that I wouldn't bother going there. Yeah. Job security looks pretty good with Cobbo seemingly on the outer, and he ticks all the boxes for a cheapie, so I'm bringing him in this week as well.
On to some other things that we're going to get to today. So Nathan Cleary named, but does he kick goals? We'll touch more on Lehigh. Lachlan Galvin not there for the dog. On the bench for the doggies. Fletcher Sharpe with a lacerated kidney and ruptured spleen. The poor dude. Luke Metcalf carrying an injury. Nathan Lawson, a cheapie from a few weeks back, not named. Jack Bostock, ACL. Jayden Campbell, concussion. Ryley Smith, suspension and an injury. Sandon Smith is a guy who we really need to talk about. And Garrick onto the wing. So it's a huge show that we're going to get through today. Supercoach Plus, $29.95 for the year. There's a buy planner in there. I suggest you use it for this final buy, which is coming up next week. First game of the week, Panthers v the Bulldogs. Nathan Cleary is named. I don't think he's going to kick goals, though. A lot of people have sold over the last couple of weeks. What are you doing with Cleary?
I sold him 2 weeks ago, I think. So I wasn't pleased to see him named at halfback there, but you wouldn't think he'd kick goals. He didn't in Origin, and you'd think they'd have him on ice, ready for that Game 3. So they've got Brad Schneider there on the bench, so maybe he doesn't play on Thursday night, but at least it's the first game of the round, so Supercoaches will get the chance to see if he does play or not.
Yeah, I'm holding, but there are obviously concerns over whether he does play, and I'm sort of not expecting him to kick goals either, which is a bit of a bit sad.
Yeah, so Dylan Edwards is set to kick goals there, is what we're hearing. On to the doggies. So Lachlan Galvin, who you were thinking of picking up a few weeks ago, I bet you're lucky that you didn't go there because Galvin is on the bench this week with Sexton retaining that spot in the halves. They've got their Origin guys back like Burton, Crichton, King, etc. Kurt Mann. What's your thoughts on Lachlan Galvin? Because I need for draft and I really want him to be starting.
Yeah, shout out to Rob. He talked me out of trading him in a few weeks ago, so I ended up going with Jermaine Asako instead. But to be honest, I don't get having him there on the bench. He's just one of their best players on the team, and I get that Sexton's going good, but for me, I feel like you get your best players and you're starting 13. So I think it's a bit awkward for Supercoach, him being on the bench. He's going to come on maybe 50 minutes into the game and play that impact role. So, yeah, he's completely irrelevant until he gets that starting spot.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully he comes down to a decent price when he does score that spot, and could be a bargain for Supercoach. Jacob Kiraz, he is the second most popular purchase, but the most popular keeper this week. I think he's a must-have. I'm going to bring him in. I can't see how you can not own Kiraz. The issue, of course, is one origin injury, and he's into that Blues team. And Brian To'o, we know that his hamstring's probably only just hanging on by a thread right now, so it could easily happen. But I still think Kiraz just looks too good when he's playing. He's back to the wing this week, which is good. I love him. I'm going to bring him in.
Yeah, I think he's a great buy, and the only reason I'm not bringing him in this week is because I'm finally going to bring in Herbie Farnworth.
Oh, right, yeah.
So
yeah,
otherwise,
you've got to own both those guys. I think they're two musts.
Yeah, well, they're just absolutely killing it. So I think, yeah, I agree. You just got to get him in if you can.
Yeah, my Supercoach team was flying when Kiraz was playing, and I had him all the way throughout that run, and it's just dropped off ever since he got injured. So I'm bringing him straight in this week, and I got the money to be able to do it. So I can't get Herbie. I'm gonna be stubborn, which hurts me in Supercoach a lot of the time, but I'm just not going to go him and just death ride him for the rest of the season.
Kiraz for a VC option this week as well, I reckon. On to Viliami Kikau, fifth most popular player. Rob Sutherland's all over him. I'm not nearly as keen, but his form has been great. His base is up this year, averaging in the low 70s for Supercoach, which is obviously right up there with the better guys in that back row position. I actually think I prefer Jacob Preston, to be honest, at the same club, but Kikau is the popular one this week.
Yeah, I mean, his base stats are up, which is really enticing, but I think for me, he's still just a bit too reliant on some attacking stats to reach those really high scores. So there's a few question marks over him for me. So I'm just going to be avoiding still.
Yeah, there's a few guys I want to target, and like the Kiraz, those type of guys with a lot more upside than a Billy Kicks. So I won't bringing him in.
Your Sea Eagles playing at 4 Pines Park. Garrick to the wing, as we mentioned. Hopewadi at fullback with Turbo in the centres. Aloka Atu is still out, so a lot of people are just getting around to selling now. But one thing I will point out with Lehigh, BE of 120, so you could probably wait a week on him.
Yeah, I still think he's a great buy, but yeah, you definitely don't. He's not urgent.
He had that concussion a couple of weeks back, so his price is still correcting from that.
Yeah.
Break even doesn't worry me. I think you lock him in against the Tigers at bookie. Point to prove with that number one on his back. I think he's probably one of the top 3, top 4 centre wings at the position. So I love Lehigh Hopewadi. I'm going to throw the VC on him this week, and I hope he goes big. The
West Tigers, so they got Heath Mason at fullback, which is big news for my draft team, although not particularly big news for most classic players. Jareen Buller's out for a month with a hamstring injury, which is why that shift has taken place. Plus, that shift also means that Latu Fainu is playing fullback. 289 halfback, sorry.
Yeah.
289k, BE minus 11. So look, only 5'8", but not the worst pickup for Supercoaches.
Yeah, not super relevant for classic, but I reckon they're both really good pickups for draft.
Yep.
I really like Latu Fainu. I've been waiting for him to get the starting spot for a long time, but he's got a minus 11 break even, whereas you got Karapani with like a minus 82 break even or something. So it's an easy choice there.
Yeah.
For me.
Yep. Knights v the Raiders. So as I mentioned, Fletcher Sharpe, lacerated kidney and a ruptured spleen. That sounds like incredibly painful. He is out for a long time. It does mean that Jackson Hastings comes into the halves. Not a purchase for classic, but he'll be really popular on the draft waivers this week, I assume.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the halves depth is always a bit of a black hole for draft. So any 5'8" or halfbacks that come available, I think, are going to be relevant.
And Greggy Marziu, so he's struggling with an arm/neck injury, only on the extended bench. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with him. On to the Raiders, some big-ish news here. Hudson Young rested. He's been carrying an osteitis pubis issue, so he's pretty popular for Supercoach, so that's a blow for a lot. Plus, I want to hear your guys' thoughts on Jed Stewart. Is he a better cheapie than Karapani, given he's about 100k cheaper? You can wait till next week, though.
I guess it depends what you need. I would personally be prioritising Karapani more. Yep. I think the job security is a bit better, and there's more upside.
Yeah, the left edge for the Broncos, just a gold mine
Yeah.
at the moment. It has been all year, and Jed Stewart, I think he's got talent about him, and something that I really like about the Raiders is their draw is just so good. I don't think I'm not sure if they play next week or not, so he might not be a number that round, but I think they only play one top 8 team the rest of the way.
Yeah,
so
they've got the bye in 19, so he plays next week, but then misses, which is arguably a tougher week the next week.
Yeah, and
best 17.
if you're buying Karapani, you're not buying him to play him every week.
Yeah.
And he is 100k cheaper, so I can see upside in going him instead.
At the Bronx, no Ben Hunt. There was some chat that he'd be back, but he's not there. Just a shout out to Payne Haas, really. He's almost got ruled out of Origin with a groin issue, then comes out and bangs out a ton for Supercoaches a couple of days later.
Yeah, was not expecting that. It was very nice, given that he was backing up from Origin, and I was sort of expecting him to play drastically reduced minutes, but it was very welcome.
Yep, ouch. Don't have him. So
Oh, yeah, sorry. No, I always forget. Maybe I deliberately forget that one. On to the Warriors. So DWZ is out, of course, with that ankle injury picked up in somewhat dubious circumstances over the weekend. Luke Metcalf is carrying a quad cork, but it looks like he will play, but may not kick goals.
Yeah, I've and I'm sure many other Supercoaches have moved on from Metcalf now.
Yeah.
The roller coaster was just a bit too much for me, but I guess, everyone who's held on to him, it's a bit of a blow for them.
Yep, I'm one of those hacking proud Luke Metcalf owners. He's been so good. He'll be back goal kicking after the bye. It's just a cork, little stinger. So, to be honest, I don't think there's many other options of that 5'8" until Munster's back from Origin duty. So, Luke Metcalf, if you have him, I wouldn't sell him.
Aaron Clark was really popular last week. He's popular again this week. I like it. He's just solid as averaging sort of, around that 70 mark, which is actually better when you look at his recent form. So he's right up there with the best guys in the back row. Any forward in Supercoach you can pretty much match.
Yeah, I started the year with him and moved on after only about a month when it looked like he was starting to plateau a bit. So I can't bring anyone in that I've already sort of moved on from, but I do think he's a great buy.
You can.
I know I can. I can't bring myself to it. It hurts.
He's just solid as is the thing. I don't think he's going to bust out, these enormous scores that other guys can do in the position. But still, if you're looking for a really solid mid-70s guy, then go for it.
Yep. Yeah, he's fun to watch too.
Doesn't play 18, mate.
Yeah, that's the main thing really.
On to Dragons. So my boys have dropped one of my top cheapies from the last couple of weeks in Nathan Lawson. You tried to steer me out of this trade and I still went for it anyway. But Tui Pilotu and Corey Allen are back, so that means no Lawson. It's a blow for a lot of super coaches, but when I bought him in, I kind of knew that this might happen, and I don't care because it just means he nuffs out.
Yeah, well, I tried to talk you out of it and then ended up doing it as well. Yeah. So it's a blow for me. But yeah, I'm the same. Like, I sort of knew that this would happen, and now he's just enough. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, I steered clear of him, and I'm happy I did. So
yeah.
I have Toby Couchman who's sort of just whacking away there.
Yeah.
I would rather him move back into the middle, so I don't like that he's still on the edge. But
so he's still on the edge even with Siua out.
So he'll move
right?
to the left edge, you'd think. Yeah. So, yeah, he plays next week, so I'm going to hold him for that and then move him on after, I think.
On to the Eels. Dylan Brown back from suspension. Ryley Smith is facing suspension, probably 2 weeks for him. He's also got an injury, so maybe that is a factor in them taking the early guilty plea. I'm not sure. In any case, I can cover him for at least a week, so I won't be selling Ryley Smith. But a lot of people have him and Sandon Smith, which would be a bit of a pickle to be in this week, which means Harry Grant is really popular.
Yeah, well, it's a tough one. I mean, I do like Grant, but I wouldn't be really considering him until after the Origin period if you can cover hooker. But if you're stuck without a hooker at the moment, you might be forced to just move on from one of them.
Yeah,
I'm surprised no one's talking about Blake Brayley. I've had him for a while now, and I don't think the last 2 games, I don't think I've seen him play any better in his career. He's running the ball so much, and he's knocked out a ton and then 97. So he's got a negative break even. Maybe he could be a purchase.
Well, with Connor Watson in Origin, I think that the two hookers at the Sharks, even though one of them barely plays hooker anymore, and Cameron McKinnon,
I don't know how...
they got two blokes who are just banging out 60 solid every single week. So, arguably the two best hookers in Supercoach right now are both playing for the same team.
Yeah, he's got that attacking upside now that he's running the ball too. It seems like Fitzy's given him the licence to run, so maybe if he does it again this week, he's a huge buy.
Do we like Zach Lomax? Very popular. Fourth most popular purchase this week. You've got the issue with Origin coming up and whether he backs up after that final game. But I do see him as a guy you could end the season with and have him in your final team.
I do like him a lot, but the bad thing going for him is that I think there's just, for Supercoach, there's two centre wings that are just better than him in Kiraz and Farnworth at the moment. So if you've got the cash to bring in one of them, I would just prioritise them over Lomax. But I do think he's a decent buy. But like you said, with Origin, there's just a bit of uncertainty around him.
Yeah, probably more of a round sort of 20 purchase for me, to be honest.
No Moses, no Lomax for me. Yeah, I think all of his tries have been when Moses has been playing this year. He had that drought at the start of the year where he didn't score any tries, and then as soon as Mitch Moses came to the team, he started looking like a world beater again. So as soon as Mitch Moses comes back, Lomax will come straight into my team.
At the Dolphins, who are an attacking machine in Supercoach at the moment, unfortunately, Jack Bostock, who was the second most popular purchase last week, he's gone with an ACL injury. So huge blow for him. A lot of people are looking to sell, obviously. Herbie Farnworth, do we think he's a must-have? Are we moving... I'll put this to you because we've touched on it. Are we moving heaven and earth to get him into your team?
At this point, I feel like I can't. I've just got to... the time to get it was two weeks ago, maybe earlier than that. And at this stage, everyone else has him, so you just got to hope that, he just plateaus out a bit. He has scored every game except for last week, I think. That was the first time that it broke the drought, like his scoring streak that he was on.
And he's still got a ton.
So every time he was getting the ball, he'd offload it, just like those little silly offloads, and then they just stack up.
Yeah, I think he's just about a must-have, and he's expensive, but I need him in my team.
Yeah. I got him in a couple of weeks ago, and I'm very happy. I paid close to top dollar for him, but I'm glad that I did it. Onto the Bunnies, they've got Campbell Graham, Cody Walker back into that team, and Mamazelos as well, for people who might still be holding on. Keon Kaloamatangi, killing it recently, and just emerged from the dead last weekend. We thought he was out for 6 weeks with a fractured face, and then comes out and bumps out a pretty good score.
Yeah, I have him, and I've been really happy with him. My only concern is that he's playing so well that he could be the next man up for the Blues. Yeah. So as much as I'd love to see him playing for New South Wales, I would prefer for Supercoach purposes that he is not available.
Yeah, he's rock solid, Keon. I couldn't believe when the reports came out last week that he was going to play. I was thinking, he's there on the extended, maybe, they give him a week, and then he was in there and he played big minutes and knocked out a nice score for us. So good on Keon.
Any love for Alex Johnston? I love this story.
No
I feel like there's some sort of nostalgia going on here with people just getting on Alex Johnston as he chases that Ken Irvine record, which has stood for so long. I don't quite see it for Supercoach though.
Yeah, he's not going to... He might score a try most weeks, but he's not going to score 4 tries every week.
Exactly.
This is just people chasing last week's points, I think. That being said, I'll eat my words if he does score 4 tries again this week.
Well, like Cody and Latrell, Cody back is good, and Latrell's just setting him up for lots of tries. So I can see the reasoning behind it, but he's already pretty expensive. It's not like he's got the BE of 8, but it's not like he's a bargain. So, yeah.
What score did he get? Like 120, 130?
130 odd, yeah.
Most centres, wingers get 4 tries and they double ton pretty much. So if he doesn't score, he's going to go 20 and you're just going to hate it. So yeah, I do like the idea of getting on him and going after this record. So yeah, but I wouldn't get him.
Yeah.
Onto the Storm. So Harry Grant, really popular there. I agree with you guys. I'll be waiting until after Origin, but he is probably the guy I'll get in to finish the season in that position. Connor Watson is the only guy who's sort of rivaling him for that spot, but for me, he's a buy for round 20, round 21, not for now.
I think the only reason he is so popular this week is purely desperation with people who have Ryley Smith and Sandon Smith and are just stuck. So for those people, I think it makes a little bit of sense, but otherwise I'd be waiting.
And onto the Sharks. What's going on with Nicho Hines? Some weeks he looks absolutely horrendous, and then he comes out and has a pretty solid game like last week, scoring tries, taking on the line. And then there are other weeks where he's literally passing 5 metres before the line. What's going on?
Well, I was talking about it with Rob last week. In past seasons, Nicho runs sort of... He gets a lot of the ball and he runs across the field and gets those easy little tackle breaks and offloads. This year, he's just running a lot more direct into the line, and you just get way less Supercoach points by doing that. I thought he started really good the first 60 minutes the other day, and I might have tweeted a photo with him in a Blues jersey, which I since deleted after the game finished. But he looks good. I know there's a big score coming, but he just doesn't get those points. And a few years ago, when before the the dropout, how they made it a penalty, a lot of teams were kicking the ball into the dead just to get those repeat sets. And I remember against the Warriors when we had 12 players for the whole game, Nicho got about 180 or something, and most of those points were just getting repeat sets. But you don't get those points anymore, really, because no one really goes for them. So,
but they're much more happy just to run it on the last
just
play.
to run it, and the Sharks do it. They run it to the corner and they're happy to turn it over there. So, like a lot of his upside was in that, and those others running across runs. That's why his average is down over the previous seasons.
Titans v the Cowboys. So at the Titans, Jayden Campbell's out. So are you selling? That means he misses this week, and then has to bye next week. So it's 2 weeks that he's out for. And did you sell for Munster to him?
No, I've still got Munster. I'm just going to hold him. I know he's not playing this week and he's got bye next week, but I only just brought him in, and it's too painful. So I'm just going to hold.
I think their draw's not too bad after that bye too. I was looking at it because I'm a proud AJ Brimson owner, but yeah, I'm pretty sure their draw is good after the bye.
Tino, any thought of selling him? I think it was a good sell 2 weeks ago when we knew that he was carrying that sternum injury into Origin. Now is probably a bit too late. I'll be sticking with him. But look, I can see why, given he's got that sternum injury and his output, even in Origin and certainly on the weekend, was a bit down.
Yeah, like you said, I think if you were going to sell, that time's already passed. So I think for now he's definitely just a hold. Get through the Origin period, hopefully gets over this injury, and then gets back to his best. So I'm just going to be holding.
Yep, couldn't have said it any better. I agree with you too.
On to the Cowboys. Jackson Purdue, 4th most popular sell this week. I like it. I mean, he did have that one really good game in the halves, but all in all, I don't think the halves is suiting him at the moment. And the Cowboys are obviously not playing well at all. No one around him is playing well, which makes it tough for the halves.
He was getting into a really good rhythm playing at centre and was looking pretty good for Supercoach, but then moving to the halves just hasn't really worked out, and they're moving him back to centre this week, right? So I think it's just, I think he is a sell.
Selling an outside back against the Titans just doesn't make sense for me.
Yeah, fair enough.
And one thing I will say, I think it's really good for Scott Drinkwater, the fact that he goes back to the centres. So anyone who still has Drinky, including myself, would be happy with that.
See you on Drinkwater this weekend?
Yeah, I'm doing the same.
On to the team that's on the bye. They're very Supercoach relevant in the Roosters. So, Sandon Smith, as we mentioned, you could be without a hooker this week. Plus, you've got Sam Walker coming back in 2 weeks. You've got the bye this week. Would you be selling Sandon Smith? Just cut the cord now.
If you have to, I think definitely. I've moved on already. I moved McInnes to hooker and just used it for different trades. I think now's the time to move on.
Yeah, I sold Sandon Smith way too early, so maybe
I've been death riding him since about round 4, to be honest, and he's been killing it in what's a pretty rough position at hooker.
Yeah, thank God Teddy's on the bye too. I'll take that, and shout out to Mark Nwang Nidawase as well.
Yes, he was huge for me on the weekend. And no Teddy is captain this week, unfortunately. Siua Wong out for 6 weeks, so a popular sell as well. That's it for our teams podcast. As I mentioned, a huge day, carnage in Supercoach land. Big thanks to Jett and to Wilso. We'll catch you for the preview podcast tomorrow.